UK dealer forecourts in 2026 are stacked with brand new motorhomes priced between £60,000 and £75,000. Yet within 5 years, many of them will be sat in workshops with damp creeping through the body seams, electrical gremlins nobody can trace, and owners waiting months for spare parts that simply don't arrive. And here's the part the showrooms won't tell you. The moment you drive one off the forecourt, it starts shedding thousands of pounds a year in depreciation. But scattered across Auto Trader, eBay, and dealer-backed lots are 5 overlooked motorhomes that dodge all of those problems. Vans built on engines that run past 200,000 miles. Vans you can buy today from £16,000, a quarter of the price of a new one. And in one case, a van with a body that's almost physically incapable of letting water in. We're counting them down, starting with a British-built workhorse so unfashionable that nobody wants it, even though any garage in the country can fix it. Ask the average motorhome buyer about Elddis, and you'll get a polite shrug. It's the badge nobody brags about, parked at the cheap end of every British forecourt while the crowds gather around the German metal. That snobbery is exactly why this van is a bargain. Right now, a 2008 Autoquest 120 is on eBay at £16,995. A 2010 Autoquest 155 with a fixed bed is £27,995. A late 2014 example with one owner tops out around £34,995. For a range that costs nearly £45,000 new, that entry price is remarkable. Underneath sits the 2.2 HDI, the same diesel fitted to hundreds of thousands of boxes, relays and transits that have hauled parcels around Britain for 2 decades. Nothing exotic in it, and that's the point. Every independent garage in the country knows this engine. A full service costs around £250. A clutch, the biggest bill you're realistically facing, runs £800 to £1,000, roughly what a single warranty-excluded electrical fault costs on a brand new van. The honest weak spot is the body, not the engine. Pre-2013 Autoquests used traditional construction, and water finds its way in around window frames and roof joints if the sealant has been neglected. Elddis only introduced its fully bonded body with the 10-year water ingress warranty in 2013, so on anything earlier, a damp meter is your best friend. Pay £200 for an independent habitation inspection before handing over a penny. Find a dry one, and you've got a proper coach-built motorhome for the price of a 3-year-old hatchback, and 6-berth family layouts for not much more, with mechanicals that will outlive the fashionable competition. Look at the shape, and you'll see why prices have collapsed. That big bulge over the cab, the classic Luton silhouette, is the motorhome equivalent of flared trousers. Today's buyers want sleek, low-profile vans, and they pay £20,000 extra for the privilege. The result? A 2005 Sundance 630G recently advertised at £17,990, a 2007 590 RL at £24,995, and a 2010 590 RS with barely 30,000 miles at £28,999. Family-size vans, 6 seatbelts in some layouts, going begging. What the fashion victims are walking past is one of the most proven drivetrains in European motorhoming. The 2.3 Multijet has powered the majority of the continent's motorhomes for nearly 20 years, precisely because it refuses to die. Owners on UK forums routinely report 150,000 and 200,000 miles on original internals. Maintenance is famously undramatic. A cam bolt change every 5 years at £400 to £500. Oil services around £200, and that's largely the story. Compare that with the £2, 000 plus bills new van owners face when a touchscreen or control module fails outside warranty, and the unfashionable bulge. It's a permanent double bed that never needs making up. While low-profile owners wrestle their dinette into a mattress every night, Sundance owners climb a ladder and go to sleep. For families, that's the most useful square meter in the vehicle. One inspection rule above all: get into that overcab with a damp meter. The joint where the Luton meets the cab roof is the model's known vulnerability, and a soggy overcab is the most expensive repair on the van, £2,000 to £4,000 at a body shop. Dry up there, and the rest is usually honest. The market is punishing this van for its haircut. You can profit from that. Here's an irrational quirk of the British motorhome market. It worships the Fiat Ducato. 2 near-identical vans can sit side by side on a forecourt, and the one wearing a Ford badge underneath will be priced thousands lower, purely because the herd buys Fiat. Nobody can give you a mechanical reason. The Transit is Britain's van. It has carried the country's builders, couriers and market traders for 60 years, and its drivetrain is engineered for 300,000 working miles. The French and Italian converters who built on the Transit between 2006 and 2013 are where the bargains hide. A 2006 Chausson Flash 03, a genuine six-berth with 6 seatbelts, was listed this month at £15,995, the cheapest serious family motorhome in the country. A 2008 example sits at £23,995, a 2009 private sale at £19,750, and even a 2013 with the later body barely cracks £27,995. Roller Team's transit-based models trade in the same territory. On a Ducato, equivalent vans cost £4,000 to £6,000 more. Ownership is where the Ford advantage compounds. Transit parts are the cheapest in the segment because the supply chain feeds millions of working vans. A water pump, an alternator, a set of brake discs, all stocked locally, all fitted by any garage, no specialist required, and no waiting weeks for a motorhome dealer's workshop slot. The 2.2 and 2.4 TDCi diesels of this era are tough units, keep the oil fresh, and they shrug off six-figure mileages. Check the usual coach-built seams for damp, and on pre-2007 models, inspect the rear arches for rust. Transits work hard, and some have lived hard. But find a clean one, and you're buying the most fixable motorhome in Britain at a discount the market can't justify. When the herd is wrong, the smart money goes the other way. Remember the van from the intro? The one almost physically incapable of letting water in? This is it, and it's the closest thing this list has to a secret. Every other coach-built motorhome ever made shares one fatal flaw. The body is assembled from panels, and every joint between those panels is a place where British rain will eventually win. Damp is the disease that kills cheap motorhomes. Auto Sleepers, a small Worcestershire firm, solved it decades ago. They molded the entire habitation shell as a one-piece fiberglass clamshell. No panel joints, no seams across the roof, almost nowhere for water to get in. The proof is in the survivors. A 1999 Pollensa on the Peugeot Boxer, 27 years old, is currently advertised privately at £19,750 with an MOT into 2027. Think about what that asking price means. The market itself is telling you these bodies last. Scruffier executives and clubmans occasionally surface below the £16,000 mark in private sales and auctions, which buys you a hand-built British interior, real timber, proper upholstery, wrapped in a shell that laughs at the weather that destroys its rivals. The mechanicals are period Peugeot and Talbot diesels, slow by modern standards, but simple, honest and endlessly repairable. No DPF, no AdBlue, no electronics to fail. What you must check instead is everything bolted through the fiberglass. Window rubbers, roof vents and skylights are the only entry points water has, and decades-old seals need renewing at £50 a time, not thousands. Check the base vehicle for rust underneath, because the chassis is steel even if the body is immortal. These are not fast vans, and they're not fashionable ones, but ask the owner's club. Many of these have been touring since before some new motorhome brands existed, and they'll still be touring when those brands' 2026 models are in the scrapyard. Number 1 is the aristocrat of the list, and the clearest case of letting someone else pay for your luxury. Hymer is the name German engineers buy. The B-Class and Starline ranges, Hymer's full A-Class vans, were the best-built motorhomes in Europe in the early 2000s, double floors that keep the water tanks warm in winter, furniture assembled like cabinetry, insulation designed for the Alps. New, today's equivalent costs over £100,000, but the early 2000s examples on the Mercedes Sprinter base have fallen into ordinary money. A 2004 Starline 655 with the Mercedes 316 CDI and automatic gearbox is on sale right now at £21,995. Another private example sits at £24,000. Fiat-based stablemates from the same era, the 2.8 JTD Classic and C-Class, trade between £21,999 and £24,999. The engine is the heart of the case. The Mercedes 316 CDI 5-cylinder is one of the great unkillable diesels, the same family that powered German taxis and couriers past 300,000 miles as a matter of routine. Paired with Hymer's build quality, you get a van where a six-figure odometer reading is the beginning of middle age, not the end of life. Budget around £300 for an annual service at a Mercedes independent. Watch for rust on the Sprinter's rear arches and steps, the one genuine weakness of vans from this era, and insist on evidence of regular habitation checks like you would on any van. 20 years ago, the first owner paid the equivalent of a small house deposit for this vehicle. They absorb the depreciation. You collect the engineering. Across all 5, one pattern repeats. The market prices motorhomes on fashion, the shape, the badge, the year on the plate, but longevity lives somewhere else entirely. Improving engines, simple construction, and, above everything, a dry body. That's why the smartest purchase in British motorhoming isn't on the new forecourt at £70,000. It's a van the crowd walked past. So before you buy anything on this list, remember the golden rule. Buy the habitation report, not the odometer. A £200 damp inspection is the cheapest insurance in motorhoming and the difference between a goldmine and a money pit. Which of these 5 would you take on tour? Tell us in the comments. And if this saved you from a £70,000 mistake, subscribe, because next time we're naming the motorhomes, you should never buy at any price.